Hey, what's up, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Drinks with Johnny. Today, I am super excited. Man, I've got someone who is a huge influence in my life. I've been on tour with before, done a bunch of shows before. Anders Fridén, how the of In Flames. Do I even have to say that though? Like, really?
I don't know. I don't know. It's fine. I'm good either way. It's fine. Fine. In Flames been such a part of my life, so I do identify with Anders from In Flames pretty well. So
Yeah,
it's
dude.
all
Well,
it's all good. Thank you for having me.
dude, thanks for coming on so quick too. I mean, man, let's start. I know that you guys are about to do a tour in May,
Yeah.
in a U.S. tour. And
Yes.
this is for your album that came out. Now it's been out for over a year, Foregone. Came out in February 2023. And you're going to be coming out with, what was it, Gatekeeper and what, Creeping Death?
Yeah, Gay Creeper and Creepy Death. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, man. When's the last time you guys were in the States? Was it, did you do you
Um.
guys did the winter tour, right?
Yes. Yeah. So we went out with Meshuggah. That's last time, and that was at the end of last year.
Mm. And I know it's
That's
tough.
my memory is just like I even just like a couple of months ago, and I'd be like, I don't know where like
Dude, I don't even know where I was yesterday. I just woke up again,
yeah.
a little behind the scenes for those listening and watching at home. Like I just got into my hotel. Anders was nice enough to give me a half hour to set up here because I just rolled into Des Moines, Iowa. I'm in the middle of a tour right now, and but again, so glad to have you here. Speaking of winter tours that you were just on, that was the last time I think I saw you was back in
You
2016, I want to say.
was that UK, right?
Yeah,
Was
we
it?
did some European dates together with
Yeah,
Disturbed.
yeah, yeah. Time flies, man.
You kidding me? Like I especially with the pandemic, I know that
Yeah,
altered your guys' path a little bit in 2019 on the record previous to Foregone. And
definitely.
yeah,
We were in New Zealand when we got the call. Like, you got to go home, and it was kind of trippy too.
New
So we
Zealand.
actually, yeah, we flew to New Zealand, had a couple of beers, and flew home. Flew home. That was insane. And
Dude.
it's a pretty far trip for being from Sweden, you know.
Oh, you guys you weren't even like in Australia or anything. You flew out just
We were supposed to
there?
go to Australia after, so but they like you can't come here. You end up in quarantine, so don't fly
Yeah.
home.
Yeah.
So we just been to Russia, and then we flew down to New Zealand. We were supposed to do an Asian tour as well, but that got canceled, uh, a couple of weeks ahead. And then our agent said, "You got to go down there to New Zealand anyway, in case the show is happening, you know." But yeah, that was a trip.
Yeah, dude.
But
It was Auckland, I assume. Is that where you guys were gonna play?
yeah,
I've
yes,
only been
yes.
there once, man. And I
It's
remember, I mean,
beautiful,
dude,
like
so
so.
beautiful.
Yeah, lush and green around. Obviously not in the city, but yeah, it's I wanted to go there for many years, and we're that close.
Was
And
that
yeah,
your only trip out? Was that your only trip
yeah,
out?
man, yeah. I've
Wow.
never been to New Zealand before, so I flew from San Francisco to on our way to Australia. I landed in Auckland, but we never got out off the airport. So yeah, well,
Damn. Wait, is there any plans to make that up anytime soon?
which is it's so weird. We were just down in Australia, and I was expecting us to play New Zealand as well because we did
Mhm.
like an Asian run, including Australia, but for some reason we never went to New Zealand, so we don't know. As you know, there's a lot of people behind the scene that rule our lives that
Of
tell
course,
us
of course.
where to go and what to do.
Yeah, the routing, every time you're like you talk to your agents that are doing all the booking of the rooms and stuff, you're like, why can't I go here? Why can't I go here? It's like,
Yeah,
well, there's this already happening on this date. Which date do you want us to try and bid for? Like,
yeah,
and then it's working around your schedule and everything. You know how that
yeah,
goes.
yeah, yeah. So it's no, well, hopefully one day.
Yeah, man. What was the beer? You said you landed in Auckland and had time for a beer and then we're out. What beer were you drinking?
I tried to get a local beer wherever I go, at
Yeah.
least not have a like for the in the rider we always have a local 6 pack of some sort. We don't drink as much beer as we used to.
Right. You gotta
But
watch your figures as you get older, right?
yeah, not only that, but yeah. uh I think at least I'm thinking about is the figure. But
Okay.
anyway, uh, nah,
I
but
guess that's
you
just
know,
vain guys like me. I guess that's just vain guys
yeah,
like me. Yeah.
nah, but we, you know, it's been this band used to be fueled by beer. I guess a lot of albums happened by consuming a lot of beers. So yeah, no, but I don't know. I can't remember some local
Mm,
stuff.
some local stuff. But
Yeah,
well, let's get into that real quick though. As far as the beer goes, you said you're not drinking as much beer. You guys just slowing down on the drinking in general? You guys,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. That's pretty much it, you know. And uh, Björn, he's sober. He doesn't drink anymore at all.
Mm. How
And
long has he been sober for?
2 years now.
Okay, cool.
So, which is a good thing. And that slows me down too. Of course, I love my whiskeys. I have a little bit of whiskey, but mainly after show.
Yeah,
And yeah, it's not as much as it used to be. I mean, I do love good drinks, quality drinks. I do love good beer, good wine, good whiskey, or good spirits in general. But let's have it on an off day instead. You know?
right, right. No, that's a fair point. I just quick little thing. I just decided to quit drinking actually.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Just last week. So
Oh
I'm on the
wow.
wagon right now. So yeah.
Yeah.
So
So
it
how
just
do you feel?
become I feel great, man.
Yeah.
It's sad to admit how good I feel. You know what I mean?
No.
Like just even after a week. I wasn't like a wake up in the morning kind of, there's all levels to when people decide they want to stop drinking and stuff like that. Mine was just simply I've got a 7-year-old son and wife at
Yeah.
home and it's what's best for my family, at this point in my
Yeah.
life.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
No, I mean, but I mean, for me, I never been drinking because people use it because they're sad or whatever. Like, or I was like,
right, right, right.
like I never consumed alcohol because I need to um, put something down, like bury something deep inside
Yeah,
it. It's always been around a party or something, but as you get
right.
older, I guess it's you've been to a few of those parties already. It's like it's and you wake up in the morning feeling way greater too. It's
That's
not to have hangover. It's not that fun.
Dude, that's exactly why I decided all those reasons is exactly why I decided it was time. Like I was just getting feeling like shit, getting sloppy, whatever. And like you, I wasn't drinking out of depression. I drank because, you're having a good time and it's like, oh, this will make it
Yeah,
even more fun. You know what I
yeah, yeah.
mean? And then it's like, fuck that shit. That's
I've
neither
been
here nor
think
there.
Yeah, no,
Oh,
I've
go
been
ahead, man.
thinking about that. I've been thinking about that too, quite some time. But at the same, I'm so into food and combine it with good wine and good like all
Yeah.
that stuff. It's so, but drink with some sort of modesty. That's more
Yes.
my new
That's
formula.
the idea. Yeah. Hey, and if you can do that, all the power to you.
Yeah,
I wasn't able to do that all the time, so it just became, whatever. I don't need it anymore. They got like
yeah,
I'm big into the pairing too, man. That was like the hardest thing for me to realize I'm gonna have to it's like a breakup with a girlfriend, like a girlfriend you really love. You know what I mean? It's like,
yeah,
we had
yeah,
so many good years together, but it's time.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah.
But man, I
Uh,
want to get back to this Foregone album and the
Now,
cycle that you guys.
food and drinks are more fun to talk about.
Yeah, let's get back to okay.
No,
Okay, it
that's
is more
fine. That's
fun.
fine.
We'll come
It's
back.
fine.
We'll
It's fine.
come back.
Yeah, yeah,
We will come back. But I know that if we weren't recording this, we would just be talking that the entire time. But you know that there's
yeah,
people who are going to tune in and want to hear a little bit about Foregone and this upcoming tours you guys got coming up. Like I said, the album's been out for over a year now. You've got
yeah.
this tour coming up in May. And then you also announced a European tour with Soilwork and Nightwish. Is that what I saw?
Arch enemy.
Arch Enemy. I'm sorry. That's right.
Yeah,
Um, man, that's a sick bill too. Like
yeah. It's gonna be a lot of fun. And these are friends we had for years and years and years. We
right.
come up from the same scene. The West Coast of Sweden. So yeah, it's awesome. I mean, it's cool to after that many years, see these bands develop their own style and unique style and still hitting it hard. It's really cool.
Dude, I love it. I mean, soil work right there, as mentioned. I got to go back to my my infatuation for In Flames and what you guys have done over the years. I was in high school when I first heard you guys. Um, and it was, I had two older friends that were in like this music class with me. It wasn't really like it wasn't a technical music class by anyways. It was like let's get the grades by like just playing
Yeah.
our favorite bands. I think we did a couple of Flames covers in that, but
Oh shit.
yeah, long
You don't
story.
remember which ones?
I'm trying to remember right now. I mean, this is 25 years
Yeah,
ago
yeah, yeah,
now.
no, yeah, yeah. Speak about memory, and yeah, and I told you I don't remember the tour 3 months ago, so I don't blame you.
Yeah, I
That's
think we
fine.
might have done Bullet Ride, actually. I
Oh
think
shit.
we
All right.
might have done Bullet Ride. I know it was something off Clayman because that was the first record that I heard. These guys were the ones that introduced me into this style of metal. I was more
Yeah.
traditional metal. I'd heard some screaming. I wasn't a really big hardcore fan. I liked some stuff, but I wasn't huge into like predominant screaming music. You guys were the first ones that really opened my eyes into that world of
Mm.
music. And I just remember hearing Clay, man, they were playing. I was like, okay, I like this one. They showed me a bunch of bands. I'm not going to name the other ones that I didn't really care for. But In Flames, the
Yeah.
guitar work, the it for me, it was more about the songwriting. I think that's what it's
Yeah.
always come down to for me is like it's not just I'm not going to like something just because it's a certain style, you know what I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
or a
Yeah.
certain
Yeah.
genre. It's I want to hear good songwriting, and you guys have it, and you've had it for
Yeah.
now 14 fucking albums, which is incredible.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, th this is us, This is what we do. There's even though we not try to do the same album, again and again and again, but I mean,
Of
after a
course,
while, you gotta realize who you are, Like this is us. This is what we do, and this is
it's
our
your DNA.
craft. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So,
And but I love that
that's
I've heard you talk in a couple of interviews. I listened to yesterday in preparation for you coming on here. When Foregone came out, you did a couple of podcasts with some buddies of mine, Fid McKinty and
yeah,
Doc Coyle. So shout out to those two dudes. Do a great job on the podcasting side. I heard you talking about how, it just that similarity came up of when you write, it's in the moment. You know what I mean? Like people can say like, oh, they're trying to do something, emulate something, and you're no, you're not. You're just writing the music that you want at the
yeah,
moment.
yeah, 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 for sure. And then it's like I feel like whatever we do, whatever type of style we try to, you know, get it, like it's in the fingers, it's in the hands of the players, it's in the voice,
Right.
it's in like it's there. We can't hide it, and we don't want to hide it. And especially we spoke about the pandemic before, how different. I mean, how much that have changed in my mentality looking into the band and what I do. You know,
Yeah.
things are way more important to me these days than it was before. Like for yeah, like it's like because
And that's got to be for
it,
everything, right? Not just the band.
yeah,
I mean, I think
yeah, yeah,
just
yeah,
for
for sure.
everybody,
But it's such a
everybody
big,
knows that
huge.
shit. Right?
Yeah, 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 yeah. But it's such a huge part of me, like I'm constantly thinking about the next move, like the stage, the merch, the songs, all this stuff. It's in my head. I can't stop it, right? But it become way more important to me. These valuable at least,
Right.
and you don't. I've said it before. I say it all the time. Like how maybe for a while you took, and you can probably, I don't know if you feel the same way, but like you kind of took things for granted for a while. You released an album and you went on tour. You expected people to come, buy your shit, and applaud when you tell them to applaud, and jump when you tell them to jump, and then you go
Right.
to the next city, right? And then it's like that's not how now. Every single show and every single fan I meet is way more. It's more important. Like that moment is more important to me, and more valuable, I guess. I don't know.
Right. No, I totally agree for different reasons. A little bit for me too, because I like to say that we were the trendsetters. We got off the road before the pandemic could get us. So
Yeah.
we abruptly had to end our cycle on the stage in 2018. Matt had some vocal issues that we had to take care of, and it just started.
Okay.
It just ended our cycle a little earlier, and then but the pandemic elongated that. So I was home. I mean, I don't know what the longest you've been home in between cycles has been, but
That's that for sure.
that was it. And how long was that
Yeah,
for
yeah.
you?
2 years.
2 years. We were home for almost 6 years in between shows.
Wow, 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 wow.
And it wasn't like a planned hiatus. It wasn't like Metallica coming off the Black Album, like we need a break. It was just these things just kept adding up, and we just kept saying, "Well, we'll wait until the time's right." Then,
Well, was there a time where you thought it'd be like, okay, this might be it, this might be over, or did that
Absolutely,
ever come to? Yeah.
several times.
How does that make you feel then? Because I will be devastated. Like even though I feel like, I've done more than like I surpassed my dreams and goals and whatever, but
Yeah, you
I
guys have
would
been
be
touring for 30 years
super.
now.
Yeah, I was super super sad and feel lost if everything was just disappearing. Like
Yeah, I mean, you nailed it. It was definitely a time of reflection while
yeah,
we were all home. Luckily I just started a new family. My son's
yeah,
7 now, so I mean it was right at the end. So that kept
that's
me
a good
going.
timing though. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, and I looked at it as a silver lining. I was like, well, had these chain of events not happened, I wouldn't be here for his first day of preschool. I wouldn't be here for his first soccer
yeah,
game. I
yeah,
wouldn't
yeah,
be
yeah,
here to take him to school and do all these things for
yeah,
these formidable years of his life,
yeah.
or at least the young years of his life. So I took that as a silver lining and just tried to focus on that. And I started, luckily, it's funny enough, I luckily started this podcast before all that shit was really going down, and we
Oh,
were,
all right, right, right.
but then it gave me something to do, and then obviously still focused on writing and the band. During that whole time, we laid low, but it
Yeah.
wasn't like we weren't working. It just we weren't telling everybody what we were doing, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So
Do
we're
you
still
have a
busy.
place to go to rehearse it? Because we don't. I mean, we don't. I mean, Björn and I live in Stockholm. He lives in Gothenburg. So there's like, there's some distance
What's the
between us,
difference?
and we
What's the
don't.
distance there? What is that
It's about
distance?
5 hours by car, like a
Okay.
45-minute flight, something like that. But anyway, I mean, we don't have a rehearsal space anymore. So we meet up somewhere. These last few albums, we rented a house in LA, and that's where we write. Because I want to be, and we want to be in a room together. That's
Right.
I need to vibe with other people. I feel their energy, and instead of sending stuff back and forth. But do you have a place to go to, like where you meet up, so you still have continued to have that group vibe, or how do you do it? Because I
Oh yeah.
was during the pandemic, I didn't have that feeling. That everybody was gone.
Yeah, that separation. I can only was it sympathize with it and empathize? I always get those two mixed up. But whichever one is that I understand, but I wasn't in that position. We all grew up together in Huntington Beach, and we still live together. Like I can walk to the furthest house that I have to walk to from my house would be Shad's, and that would be about a 10 minute, maybe 15.
All right, all right, okay, yeah.
You know what? Honestly, if it's closer to 20-minute walk, but it's only like a
Okay,
mile and
but
a
still,
half.
yeah, 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 yeah.
So and each of us, when we got our houses in Huntington in close proximity to each other, each of us have like our own writing room, like a similar to what I've seen behind you,
Yeah,
uh,
yeah,
a little room that we've set aside in the house where we can do our own individual writing. And then,
yeah,
depending on I mean, when we did Hail, we were going over to Matt's house. When we did Stage, we were going over to Brian's house. And then this last record with Live Ad, mostly Brian's, and then there was a studio that we were using in Costa Mesa that
yeah,
because again with the little kids around, there's a lot of distractions in the house for the first time.
yeah, 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 yeah,
It's
yeah.
like we had to go to the studio a little bit. But yeah, I mean we're fortunate in that we all live close to each other,
Yeah.
and we are literally all a family. We don't consider like I know it's not by blood, but it's actually probably
No, no, no. Yeah,
it's
yeah, yeah.
stronger
I
than
know,
that in
I
a lot
know.
of ways. I mean, you've been with Bjorn since the beginning too. I'm sure you can relate.
Yeah, we both joined in '95, and he was. I mean, the band at that point had released one album and an EP,
Hmm.
and he joined 3 months before me. So he. I mean, he's like my brother. We
Right.
we. It's. I think it's past friendship. Like, you know what I mean? Like
Oh, of
like
course.
it's like like your brother, and so yeah. It's yeah, I can't do, and I don't want to do this without him. So, but so that's the pandemic was the reason. The room I'm in right now. I bought a lot of
But
equipment.
you didn't have that before?
It was I was during the. I was like, I'm gonna buy a lot of old synths and stuff like that. I'm gonna because I need to create. I need to do music, whether it's get released or not. I still have to write, right? I need to
Yeah.
get it out of my system. It's my therapy session.
Right.
So I bought a lot of synths and built built this studio in here where I create music under a
What?
different name.
Oh, you got a different. What? Can you
Yeah, so
divulge
the
that?
yeah, so it's called If Anything Suspicious. So it's a more like electronic ambient, and I use like real guitar and real, you know what I mean, like
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Of
guitar
course.
and drums and some other instruments that are not electronic, but basically it's based on like synths and drum machines and yeah, all kinds of fun gear.
I had no
Um,
idea, dude. You got to
just
send
my
me some of this
that's
shit, or I gotta
yeah,
go
sure,
check it
sure,
out, dude.
yeah, no. So I'm working on the second album now. Hopefully, it comes out somewhere in September. But it's awesome. It's you know, it seems like metal. I mean, um, for me at least, metal is very it's like verse, chorus, verse, verse. I like so when I
Formulaic. Metal can
yeah,
become
exactly.
formulaic.
Exactly. I love it. I love it. I love it to death. You know, that's why I'm here.
Yeah, exactly
so,
right.
so don't get me wrong, but it's and I you know writing lyrics and stuff like that. So with this one, it's like I felt so free because I could get away from that formula. I don't have to write that verse, chorus, verse, and I felt like as soon as with time, I wanted to have lyrics from the beginning, but as soon as I was about to write lyrics, I don't have it in me. I don't want to. It's more fun to just
Mhm.
create. So I jumped into the next session and the next session and the next, and all of a sudden I had tons and tons of material without vocals, and I felt like this is awesome. like I'd rather describe a world without words and rather emotions, you know. So
Right. And I'm sure that
that's what I do.
that's a different therapy for you too, right? Because I mean,
one Hundred
when you're
percent.
writing within flames, that as a lyricist, I'm sure you're getting a lot of your shit out, you know, a lot of your therapy. But
Yeah,
this
yeah,
is
no, for sure.
yeah, having a more electronic
Yeah,
and instrumental, it's a
and
different way.
yeah, yeah, definitely. And not only that, it's like no, you know, like you guys, us, whoever that released a couple of albums, people judge you because of what you have done.
Right.
It's always whenever you do an interview for a new album, it's always like you have to defend the past instead of talking about the future.
Isn't that the best? Isn't that like the most fun thing ever?
Yeah, yeah, I love it.
Sarcasm, man. Sarcasm.
I love it. But I mean, that's part of the deal. That's part of the
It
business. So
is, yeah,
I get
absolutely.
it. You know, I get it, and I'm glad people are interested. So it's fine. But with this, it
Of
was just
course.
like I could do whatever. I felt really fucking free. Like I could
Hmm.
do whatever I want, and nobody can judge me on that one. But yeah. So
Dude, I can't wait to hear some of that. I wish I would have listened to it before and had more to talk about. But I'm looking at all these synths you got back there. Which one's your favorite? Like, what's the baby that you picked up along
um,
the way?
well, I have so many stuff. I right now I use a lot of modular gear. So like it's a Eurorack, but they call it Eurocrack because you know it's a you buy and buy and buy, you never stop, sort of.
Oh, okay, okay.
But I mean, Minimoog was my first. That was my, you
That's a
know,
classic, man.
holy grail at first. So I have
Yeah.
that, but I have tons of different Moogs and Rolands and you know ARP 2600, which is next to me, and I have an old English. I don't know if you know Synthy, what that is, AKS Synthy, which is a
I've
English
I've
that
heard
Pink Floyd used.
yes, 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 yes. We've
You
had
know,
Jason Freeze work on our records with a lot of these synth stuff in the past
yeah.
stage and Libad. And he's brought in so many different things. Like I'm a novice, I'll be honest, of synth as far as the equipment goes.
Yeah.
I know what I like sounds good and stuff like that. We just like, hey, can you try this thing? Can you try that thing? You know, but like
Yeah.
but it
I love it.
I need it. I want to get into it. I need new hobbies now, man. I'm a week sober. I need new hobbies. I'm
This
gonna have to
is
get into that.
it's a fun hobby, but I'm telling you,
Not
it's a
cheap,
black
right?
hole. It's just yeah, no, it's no cheap. It's not cheap, but it's I mean it's fun. I mean I can go here and just work on sounds for hours and hours and hours just to yeah, it just gives me something back. I don't know what it is, but I love it.
Dude,
So
that's so good. Another thing I want to talk to you about. I brought up family a couple times now, and I don't think we've ever talked like This is probably already we're already like a half an hour in. I think this is the most like one-on-one time you and I've had
Yeah,
out of all the
yeah,
shows that we've
yeah.
done. So it's really cool and I appreciate that. But I noticed that you have just one son or do you
Yeah,
have
one son
multiple?
and one girl. So
One.
my girl is my oldest, and son is so girl is 20 and son is 15.
Okay. Okay.
Turning 16 next week actually.
Yeah, dude. I gotta ask those questions. I mean, again, like you said, 2 years was the longest that you were home for.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
you've got two kids that are now, yeah, I mean, obviously spanning in the time that you have been touring over the last 30
yeah.
years that heavily. What was it like for you? I mean, as a father who's got teenagers and an adult, any advice for someone like me who's got a just one 7-year-old at home just going through the thick of it?
Oh, I'm there so many stages, which is they're all fun, but there's like new things happening all the time in a
Right.
young person's life that it's and it's so individual too. There's no
Oh yeah.
recipe for it. Like
Everyone's a
there's no
fucking individual human. Like I love
yeah,
when the
yeah,
books
yeah,
are
yeah.
like, or everyone's like, oh, you got to do this. You
Yeah.
No, 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 no. You got to listen to what the fucking kid. It's a
Yeah,
human
yeah,
being.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, looking at my kids and see who they have become is
Right.
awesome, and that's not something that I could plan or force. Or I mean, you can guide them, of course, but and by just being there, it's like really cool that you got to be there for the first years of his lives. I mean,
Right.
6, 7 years. That's a lot of years to be able to be next to someone and be there, and not only for him, for you as well.
Right.
So. I think that's awesome, but just I don't know. It's
I
just
mean,
let
how
him
was it for
let
you
him
though? Like, sorry, go ahead.
no, just guide them and protect them and let them become the
Right.
person that they want to be. I've been very I never told them like do this, do that. They could try whatever sport or whatever thing they wanted in life, and I'd be there and support them. And if they didn't like it, then we try something else. It's not for me, it's for them, And in school too, I've they've been really good. And my daughter was like took care of her, like she was took care of her school, like, all the work pretty early on. So we saw that she was interested, and she had a taste for it. For my son, it took longer, but it's this last year his grades are like whew, and it's like it's different time between different people react different ways, and
Right.
never push them. It's just be there. That's
Yeah.
what it is,
Well,
and
on
know
just
that they
being
are
there though.
loved. Yeah, know
Yes.
that they are loved and they are super valuable.
Yeah. Well, on that like just being there factor though, like I was alluding to, but with the years that you've been traveling and stuff, how were you able to manage it? Because I mean, obviously too, your oldest is 20, so
Yeah.
you probably didn't have, did you even have cell phones when you first started touring when she was really
Yeah,
young?
yeah, but the cell phones were like this though, super heavy, like in one side, like
Yeah,
you walked
it was
around
a
like this.
backpack around her fucking
Yeah, 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 with the antenna that
Yeah.
broke all the fucking time. Nah,
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, yeah, we had phones, stuff like that, but I mean, now it's way easier with a
Right,
FaceTime or Zoom or whatever you do.
right.
So it's a whole different world. But I mean, how do you do?
You
You
just
just
do,
do it.
right? Yeah.
Yeah, it's no manual, and it's either. I mean, obviously there's a decision, should I continue or whatever, but we decided at home that this is the path we're gonna do it. And with her, my daughter, I was home at least a year or so, or 1.5 year. Um, and I think we try not to do the longest tours, but I mean, I think she's all right. We should invite her and ask her if she turned
Yeah.
out okay. But I mean,
Yeah.
I think she did, and my son is cool too. And
Yeah.
it's funny to see with the music that I love, they took their own path, right? What they like and what they do, but they are very interested in the music, so that's cool. That make
What
me
kind of
proud.
music are they into?
So daughter is more like alternative, whatever alternative means, but into that scene. And then but both love to buy vinyls, which is awesome. So they go with me to the shops, but he always goes to the jazz or hip hop section or something like that and finds stuff that I have never heard of, which is awesome that he can now show me music and I get
Yeah.
educated. But they love to go to shows and do stuff as well. So yeah, it's fun.
that's why I asked about their musical influences because I was wondering, like for me, every once in a while, even at 7, like my son will show me a song that his friends like show him or whatever at school, and
Yeah,
he's like, and I listen to it. And so he's got a 7-year-old's palate, so some of it's not the greatest yet, but some of it I'm
yeah,
like, oh, there's some good shit here right going on right now. Like
yeah.
it's pretty interesting. It's just fun to have, you know, I
To
guess
that
they kind of keep.
bonding thing. Yeah, you can talk about it. And I'm so glad that I got into music. Like, and my parents let me, even though when I was studying, I was still listening to metal music, and they were like, "How the hell can you get anything into that little brain?" And I was like, "Ah, it keeps me the world outside. I
Focused.
can just focus." Yeah, exactly. And but music given me so much, so I'm happy that I can see that in them as well. So
Absolutely.
wherever they will end up,
That's funny. So when you were in school, you would you'd be listening to music while you're doing homework and shit.
Fuck yeah, all the time, all the
Same,
time.
dude. I was the same way. I didn't know if that was like a normal thing or not, but now I feel a kinship there. That's
Yeah,
good.
no, yeah, it's even now when I go need to go to sleep, I put pods in and I listen to something and I just disappear because I don't have to think about what's going on out there anymore. I
Mm,
feel the noise, so to speak, and then just calm down.
dude, I've gone away from that a little bit as far as music goes because
Yeah.
I listened to so much and I've started to it starts to get me to analyze it and not be able to turn off my
Oh,
brain.
yeah, yeah. No, I know what
So
you mean.
at
Yeah,
this
yeah,
point now, so because I'm like, if something catches my ear and I want to overanalyze it and I want to like use it for inspiration or whatever the case may be, or I'm
yeah,
critiquing it. Maybe it's something as
yeah.
simple as
No,
critiquing
I
it.
can't listen to something new. It has to be
Yeah.
something that I
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
know, like which is just
Absolutely.
there to. Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Okay. That's
It's
fair.
more
That's fair.
comforting than anything else.
Yeah. Because
So
otherwise, I'm watching old TV shows or listening to a podcast to go to sleep at
yeah,
this point.
yeah.
Um,
No, I do that. I do that too. Especially when I get home from tour, I sleep with the TV on for sure. Like
oh
because
yeah.
yeah,
Have you
it's
always slept with the TV on, or was that just from after you started touring?
yeah. I think it's mainly from touring. But
Interesting.
it's well,
Yeah, because
yeah,
I've always gone to sleep with the TV on since I was a
yeah,
teenager. I don't know,
yeah.
but I still to this day like what's a go-to show though when you come off the road? What are you throwing on the TV to fall asleep
Oh,
to?
documentaries, all kinds. Like true
Yeah.
crime stuff or if there's a good series. Right now, I went back to Curb Your Enthusiasm because
Oh
it's
yes, I
from the
love
from
that
the
show.
beginning. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I saw it years and years ago, but I saw they had the new season 12 season out, and then I was like,
Mhm.
I got to go back from to the beginning. That's it's a tough series to watch, man. He
So
ends up in these
it
situations,
makes you
which is just
uncomfortable. It makes you so
oh yeah,
uncomfortable
yeah, 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 yeah. Oh yeah,
in such a beautiful way, but it makes you so
yeah,
uncomfortable. And the humor is so I don't know how else to say it. It's intelligent humor to me. Like
yeah,
it's
for
really
sure, for sure.
it seems lowbrow because of the punchlines, but it's
Yeah,
actually highbrow if you really like it. That's just my opinion on it. So
yeah.
you're rewatching it right now. So is that to
Yes,
say
yeah.
you are not up to speed on the 12th season?
No, no, no. So I'm
Okay.
still trying to, and also another one. But I think this is also about comforting. I started watching Sopranos again from the beginning too.
I never even
Um,
watched it in the first place. I know that
oh,
that's like a travesty. I know
so
that's a
so good,
travesty.
so good.
Maybe I'll
And
start
during
it
the
this tour.
yeah, during the recording of Forgone, I was watching The Wire. If you ever seen that one, it's
No,
awesome.
I missed that one too. I
Oh,
missed the boat on those too.
yeah, yeah.
And now there's too many things to watch because now I got like
I
everyone
know.
said you got to check this out. You got to check this as a well.
Yeah,
Which app is it streaming on? It's on that one or it's on this one. I'm
right.
like,
Yeah.
fuck, I got to remember my password to that one.
Yeah, 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 yes, 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 yes. Yeah, no, there's too much information everywhere
Yeah, I mean
for
it's
sure.
good. It's good and bad. I like that there's information everywhere so that anyone can find what they want. But at the same time, at some point, don't you think it becomes a little bit of white noise? Like how do you sift
Sure,
through it?
sure, sure. I mean, I don't follow. I mean, I have Instagram, of course, but I don't follow anything but my own stuff. So I
Right,
follow like four things, whatever, because I don't want to have all the information all the time. I feel like
right.
no, and I did decided early on that I didn't want to have Facebook, I have friends if they want to contact me, call me. I don't need to be
Yeah.
part of Facebook because it's just too much. So, and I'm behind shit because have you heard about this? I'll be like, nope. But now I know. Thank you for telling me, which is
Yeah.
okay.
That's the way. That's the way to go. I agree
Yeah,
with that, man. It's just funny. It's just funny because bringing it back to music, I did hear you talking to Finn about this a little bit. Like, you guys touched on it when you were starting out. I mean, it was, tape trading was
yeah,
how you guys were
yeah.
starting out, and that's word of mouth. It's very slow. It's a gradual build that way,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I mean, it also there's pros and cons to that as well. And
Not
then,
always hi-fi listening either.
oh no, no, there's no higher. Like you recorded that on a fucking 4 track in the garage.
Yeah, and you're like the sixth person that got the version, so it's copied
Yeah,
and
yeah.
copied
It's
and copied.
copied and
So
copied
yeah,
and copied. Yeah,
yeah,
absolutely. But I mean, it's just funny to think about those days. I mean, you guys have spanned literally that from that time to now where everything is oh, you went there we go. Okay, you're back. You're
yeah.
back.
Someone was calling me. Yeah,
Okay. But you guys have your career has spanned from a time when it was tape trading to now
yeah,
I mean, there's artists that I've talked to and have on the show here sometimes that don't that do everything themselves. They don't need a label, they don't need a distribution. It's
yeah,
it's all
yeah,
digital and
yeah.
they can mix and master themselves and put it out.
There's so many
Some of their
talented
biggest stuff.
musicians and people out there. It's insane, and especially younger bands coming out now onto the scene. They have everything figured out. Everything.
Well, I don't know that I got to push back on that a little bit that they don't have everything figured out. They similar to you talking about your project with the synth stuff, like
Yeah,
it's more free. It's the Wild West right now. There's no formula to releasing music like there was for so many years, if that makes sense.
yeah, yeah. No, no. I mean, I think I meant more of like kind of what you touched on before that they recorded everything. They know they can
Oh yeah,
get
yeah, yeah.
all that stuff out
Gotcha.
on their own. They definitely don't have everything figured out. but
Nobody has
but you
everything
know what?
figured out. Let's
No,
put that
no,
out
no,
there.
no, no. And that would be boring too.
No shit.
If so. But no. But I mean, I feel like sometimes again being late and stuff like that. I social media and all that things that's so important and the record label is on you all the time. I'd be like, I don't know all that stuff and I don't care about all that stuff, but I know
No.
it's necessary, I guess, to be part like
Yeah.
so
You got to keep up with the times. You got to keep up with the times a little
I
bit.
I get it. I get it. But it was like, you know, like when the label I released this um if anything suspicious album on, they were
Hmm.
like, oh, you gotta get on TikTok, you gotta do this. I was like, I don't want to be on. I like, what should I do on TikTok? Like I have nothing that I can do this, and I can be on
Yeah.
stage, and I don't, and I know I'm missing stuff. I know I'm not gonna get exactly what you know, the reward that they expect, but it's fine. You got to come to a place where you feel like it's okay. This is it.
Yes. I totally agree.
But yeah,
I,
but
I, I, Go ahead, man. Seems like
no,
you.
no, no, no,
Yeah.
no, no. I was
See, this is why
just
the Zoom thing's always. Yeah, I can see the wheels turning. That's why the Zoom thing
yeah,
is a little tough sometimes. I'm like, I don't want to cut you off, but like, it's just interesting though because what you're saying there is so true. Like, getting to a place where you're comfortable with the way that you're presenting your art because there is so many different ways to do it, right? And like you
yeah,
said, the TikToks of the world, stuff like that. It's like, well, I'm not going to do a dance. I'm not going to do what they like what people go to TikTok to see. That's just not part of my art, right? And it's hard to convey that to someone, especially at a label, that they know what TikTok is made for. And the thing that I'm finding more and more with all these different social media apps too, and different avenues of reaching people, it's actually more difficult to get the user off of that app and to Spotify or Apple to listen to the music. They're gonna like it, they're gonna say something on TikTok, but they're not gonna go. That doesn't necessarily mean they're gonna go somewhere else. they're
yeah,
at
yeah,
that
yeah,
they're at TikTok, they're at Instagram, they're at X, specifically because that is the entertainment that they're looking for on their phone at the moment. You
yeah,
know what I mean? So it's like
yeah,
you want to put it in their head so maybe later when they're listening to music they go, oh yeah, I want to go check that out. but it's not that doesn't necessarily translate all the time.
No, no, no. I agree. I mean, personally, I'm very happy I grew up in a world before all this.
Right.
Like like we took our time to to develop. And then we had these venues where we could play early on be on stage, play live before no one knew of us, that we learned the craft. We're not great at all, but we at least we tried, and then
Mhm.
the album sort of sounded like what we sounded on stage. It wasn't anything that was just fixed, and then we ended up on stage and sounded like completely different. It was just
Right.
that was it. And I'm glad we took that time. And I look back and be like, fuck yeah, I'm happy, and that had happened. Man, but then again, I can't say anything about kids growing up today. This is what they're used to, and that's
Of
fine. I'm
course.
not saying it was used to be bad. It was way better than. It's not what I'm trying to say,
Yeah, you want to be an old head, as they call us
no, no,
sometimes.
no, that's not what I'm trying to say at all. But when I look at
Yeah.
I'm very happy that I've gone through these
Yeah.
stages. It's fucking pre-internet. Our first T-shirt we had was internet, like it wasn't in flames.com. It was like HTTP/ blah blah blah, and it was like five, no, 10 words and I don't know 20 numbers or something back of a T-shirt. It looks
No way.
insane. Yeah, yeah. But it's funny now
Yeah,
looking at
yeah.
that T-shirt. I found it in the bag and I was laughing quite hard, but it's funny. Yeah, that's what it is. It's very much pre-internet.
Yeah, man. But I mean, you got to wear that as a badge of honor too, right? I mean, the fact that you guys have been doing this for, coming up on 30 years. You said you joined in 95, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
it's coming up on just next year, you'll be in flames for 30 years, which is fucking
yeah,
insane. And that shows the longevity, right? That you guys created by doing the tape trading and going to, I mean, we're talking about today's releases of music, but that means you guys also went through similar to us, where it used to be radio meant everything, music videos meant everything.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah, yeah.
Records actually, so record sales meant something, and record labels had more power, and it's just dwindling and dwindling. So I bring up all those things to say that, like, over 30 years, it's not just, tape trading to now. It's you guys have weathered the storm of the business along the way too, right? And that's something that there's definitely something to be said for that.
Yeah, yeah, it's but I look back with like now I forgot that the fights you had with the labels, the fight with
Oh
managers and people
man.
around. Like you look back, it's like, oh, that was a good time. But I mean, it's been tough times too, where they send us out. Oh, I have to do this acoustic thing. You have to do this and that. I'd be like, I scream, like I don't want to sit in an office and do an acoustic because you think this is the times where people should go acoustic.
And that most of the time
And
those are copycat ideas anyway. It's
yeah,
like we
yeah,
were talking about with kids. It's putting a blanket and being like, this works for that band, so it must work for this band. It's like,
exact.
come on.
Yeah, 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 yeah. But I mean, you don't want to be stubborn all the time and say no all the time. Sometimes you say yes, and then you realize, why the fuck didn't I say no? But
Yeah,
at
sometimes she's like, I
least,
should have stick to my guns. And other times you're like,
exactly,
all right, you were right that time. That worked out pretty well.
exactly, exactly. But yeah, whatever it is, we're still here, so it's fun. And I'm more. I haven't been. I mean, I don't want to take anything away from anyone who's been part of the band, but right now I feel we're a really good, a solid band that sounds better than ever. And I'm looking with to the future. I smile. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Let's get to that. Because last time we were on tour together, you didn't have Chris from Megadeth.
No,
And
no, no, no. And I don't think we have Tanner. We didn't have anyone of those.
no, it's just you and
Liam
Bjorn,
or
I think.
Tanner. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So yeah, people quit. Things happen.
Yeah, that life. Yeah.
Life comes in between. So yeah, but now it's been Tanner been with us. Tanner on drums been with us for 6 years, and Chris, he's almost there as well. And Liam is brand new since last year. But it feels like we've been a band for You know, the 30 years we're talking about.
Yeah.
These guys are fucking phenomenal people.
And I gotta imagine it's great that they've been there now for the 6 years, and I hate to make it sound like they're new members or anything like that, but I wonder how that meshing was because something that I've always gravitated towards your band is the guitar work from Bjorn and the duels and stuff. Like that was
Yeah,
something when you guys were doing it, when I first heard it, the late 90s, early 2000s, it's not like I'd never heard it before because I was a classic metal fan, but it hadn't been done in at least a
that
decade to
way.
the, like that way,
Yeah.
you know? And so when you bring in someone like Chris, who's, goes back to, was it P Cells that he was on with Megadeth?
No, no, it's way later, way
Way
later.
later. Okay.
I
Which one was
don't
it?
know
It does.
exactly albums, but I mean, we know each other from when he was in Jag Panzer and Nevermore prior to this.
Oh,
So
that's right. That's
we've
right.
known him. We known him for 20 years, you know.
Dude,
So
you're naming like
eh,
I'm so happy to have this conversation, and I'll get to why in a second because like you're naming all these bands that like when I was in high school, I was going to all these shows, and I'm gonna try and jog your memory on one of them in
yeah,
particular in a minute. But so okay, I thought it was a different Chris. I apologize. So
yeah,
it was a later record
yeah,
that he
yeah,
was
yeah.
on,
Way later.
and you knew him from. I'm sorry, I had to cut you off.
Yeah, from Jag Panzer, and then he went
Nevermore.
to Nevermore.
Right.
So, and that's when we get to know each other. So he was like the first person we thought of, and super professional, of course. And he was working on with this other band after Megadeth. He was working, I think, for Act of Defiance or something. Uh,
Mm.
and when our previous guitar player, he's like, I can't go, and our our crew was already over on our way over to America because we were starting an American tour, and we were like, what should we do? Let's call Chris Broderick, see what he's up to. And he was learning, he was learning songs as we were playing them pretty much. So he
Damn.
is super, super professional, but yeah. And yeah, he's still here, still doing amazing.
Yeah.
So,
So the shows so far in this cycle, obviously, you guys are feeling great. How long have you been out at a time? Like you mentioned earlier when we were talking about kids, like you're not out for as long as in a one
but
period.
yeah,
Right.
that's been periods. I think the longest we've been out, like without going home, probably 3 months or something like that.
Oh, that's
And
still
then
long, man. That's still a long
yeah,
time.
and last year I think we were, I mean, the whole year I think we were away like 7 months, but not straight. Six
Yeah, of
or
course.
7 or 8 months. But we did a long 2 tours back to back last year, which was that's long. And then
Yeah.
coming from America and then pretty much straight into Europe, and that was yeah, it takes a toll on you for sure.
Yeah, man. It's been a minute since I did a 3 month tour. That's that's
Yeah,
that's that's
yeah,
that's that's some hardcore shit.
yeah, yeah, yeah. People don't
Now
know
I
what
want
I'm
to get
going
back.
through.
Yes, I do. I do. I at least well, I gotta say, I was a lot younger the last time I did a 3 months tour
Oh
like
yeah,
that.
yeah,
And I gotta tell you, man, the tolls just keep getting. I should say I don't have to tell you. The tolls get harder and harder each year, right?
yeah, for sure. Getting out of bed it hurts a little bit more.
hmm it sounds like we're complaining, but we're not. We're
No,
still
no, no,
we're
no,
still not
not at
at
all.
all.
Not at
Not
all.
at all. Not at all.
As soon as I hear the intro and because we always hug it out before we go on stage, then it feels like,
Nice.
oh, I can take on the world and nothing matters at that moment, and it feels
Yes,
awesome and you don't feel the pain. It's
of
just
course.
having a good time. So, but then slowly after the show, it comes back again.
Well, you just brought up something I wanted to ask about. Your do you have like a I don't know what's it called, like a set schedule or what or some traditions that you have before you go on stage? You mentioned you guys hug it out before. Is that like a huddle? Is someone in the huddle like getting a pep talk before you go on stage, or is it like
It's pretty much like
high fives all around before you get up there? Like
I mean, it's
the
pretty
tradition?
pretty much like this. The other guys they have their like mini rigs, electronic drum kit, and small amps, and they rehearse pretty far. And I come
Warming up in
in the dress.
backstage, yeah.
Yeah, and I come in the dressing room an hour sort of before, and then I start jamming music. most part for people's liking. Sometimes they don't like it, but it doesn't matter. It's my world. No, but and
Love
then
it.
yeah, it's time to go on stage. We hug it up, but it has to be in a certain order. You know, you can't change the order, so it's always has to be
Yes.
one person first, and it's always like that. So Chris is always my first hugger. That's where I go to, and then it's
Okay.
Liam, and then it's Tanner, and then it's Björn, and then off we go. And then obviously my assistant, he is always in there as well. But yeah, so everybody does that, and we're ready to go.
Would you
So
consider would you consider yourself superstitious then?
no, no, not at all. But it's I mean, not at all. I guess. I mean, we created something like that, but I don't. If we fuck it up, I don't think that the
It doesn't. It
lightning's.
doesn't. It doesn't like you don't just like drop everything and it's not. It's not full
No,
like that. Yeah.
no, 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 no. So I don't think so.
Yeah. I ask because I have similar things that are traditions that I like to keep and I used to be very superstitious and I
Like
thought it
you have
was
certain socks or shoes in the tie the shoes in different order or what? No.
nothing quite so OCD. I mean I have that in my personal life, but
Yeah,
it doesn't pertain to the shows. I more or less pertaining to the shows. It's more like you said. There's an order of the hugs. I give fist bumps to everybody. It's like been my thing. I've like since the beginning. Before we with the last like 10 seconds or whatever backstage, there's been videos of this, but we do like this motion. And it's like world domination, something we did like when we were like, in our early
yeah, yeah,
20s and we're like we're gonna take on the world and which is something that stuck. So
yeah.
little things like that that like and I to line check my bass when it's handed to me by Willie G. I check the same riff every time. It's the Velvet Revolver, Duff McKagan.
Is Willie with you on tour right now?
Yeah, Willie's on tour with me. Do you know Willie?
Yeah, send him love, man.
I
Yeah,
absolutely will. Willie's been around, man. He's been with a lot of guys, man. He's a good dude.
yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it's a small world, man. I didn't know you. Did you guys work with them?
He was out with yeah. I mean we crossed paths for years, but he has not worked with us, but yeah, with other bands that we tour with. Yeah.
Well,
So
well, getting to the shows again. I gotta prop up. May is when you guys are
yeah,
going to be doing your U.S. tour. I was looking at the dates because man, I would love to watch you guys from the fucking crowd again. I'm going to make sure I do because I'm going to keep watching these tours as they come up. But unfortunately, you're not getting into California. Did you
no,
guys
not
do any?
this time.
Did you do California in the winter with Meshuggah?
Yeah, yeah, we did. So it's not this time. It's more East Coast and mid, I guess.
Yeah, Midwest.
Um,
Yeah, I
and
saw that.
we're not hitting Canada this time either, which is unfortunate. We love Canada, but no. But it's. I mean, I'm looking forward to this tour, and I mean, I'm always part of picking the bands if we have support bands, and I want to know what band it is. I want to pick them myself, and with agents and so on as well. But
Mhm.
and I'm really super stoked to have Gate Creeper and Creeping Death, amazing bands, and really reminds me of the stuff that I grew up listening to, but with a new twist. And it's awesome. So people should come early and check it out. It's you know you pay a lot of money for a ticket these days, so I mean, it's for me, it's important that you get a good night. Get there and just
Absolutely.
have a blast and forget the what do you say the shit that's going on around in the world.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that that
just an escape.
absolutely. That's what we're doing. We're entertainers. Like I know we're
Yeah,
musicians and artists, but we're also entertainers. It's all part of the whole fucking umbrella and the whole idea is to allow that release to people the same way that we were just talking about. We do the same thing when we put on a show or music to go to bed and get
yeah,
that
yeah,
release.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Basically,
yeah.
we're all human beings doing the same thing. We're just this is our way of giving it to everybody. And you mentioned you picked these bands. What did you have? Do you have any prior relationships with these guys? Like, have you toured with them before or anything, or you just listen to their
No,
music and you're a fan?
yeah, I listen to the music. Gay Creeper, I met this previous summer on a couple of European festivals, and they are awesome dudes. And I was listening to some of their stuff prior, and then I got to meet them, and it was fucking awesome. So, and I'm happy that they got thrown in the hat. And Creeping Death is a new acquaintance, but I've been listening to their stuff, and they're really, really good. So I said, let's try these guys, and it fits the bill. And I always want to get psyched. I want to hear music that's great and that pump me up before the show.
Hmm.
Yeah, this is gonna be awesome.
Dude. Well, I'm sorry I'm gonna miss it, but everybody at home doesn't have to miss it. If they go check out the tour dates in the US, and then of course if you're in Europe, there'll be that winter tour with Arch Enemy and Soilwork. Going back to the Gothenburg sound that you guys created, um, amongst other bands, of course, too. Some of the ones
Yeah,
you're going to be back on tour with. I mean, you guys kind of get mentioned hand in hand with the likes of At the Gates and stuff coming out around the same time. These were all the bands that I was listening to. I want to bring it back to my fandom of In Flames and where it all started. At first it was Clayman, then I went back to Colony, Jester Race, Oracle. Those were like my I guess screaming metal Bible in high school. And I would go out and see you guys any chance that I got. I saw you at least twice at the Pomona Glass House
oh yeah, yeah,
in
yeah. We played that
California.
many times when you
And yeah, you have.
back
And
then.
I want to say I don't want to over exaggerate and say that it was at least, 4 times, but I know it was at least two, sometimes somewhere between 2 and 5. I've
Yeah.
seen you guys, and it's all a blur now because we're talking about 20 plus years ago. Um, but there are some things that definitely stick out. I think the first time Earth Crisis was headlining, and you guys
Yeah,
were
yeah,
were
yeah,
one of the bands on it. And I wanted
yeah,
to see if you remember, if my memory was right, or if you would even remember. This is back when you had the dreads,
yeah.
and I remember the crowd being a little hostile, and
Oh fuck
someone
yeah, yeah.
then grabbed your dreads. Do you remember this at the Pomona Glass
Uh,
House? Someone grabbing your dreadlocks when you were headbanging, and
I don't remember that specific moment.
yeah,
But yeah, that was a tough crowd. But we knew getting into that it was be tough, especially tough. I remember Salt Lake City. We played there.
mm,
We had our metal guys come with their leather jackets, and you have all these super straight edge come in. They were looking at the metal guys, being like, "Oh, there's a fight happening right here," and it
oh
was
yeah,
rough, 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 rough. But it was. I think that was you had the hardcore and the melodic, and then I don't know if that turned started some sort of style or whatever, but it was a cool blend that hit the stage at that point, and they were cool guys, really good guys. I'm happy they took us out. And that's
yeah,
something I think being that we don't really say no to anything, even though it might be quite different here and there. We
mm,
just play. Let's do it and see what happens. Because you can always, I mean, if you always play for the converted, you never grow, right? So you have to get out there and play in front of other bands' audience as well.
right. No, that's always been the thing, though, right? I mean, we know that too from that was how you got in front of different audiences. Now, again, nowadays and age, a day and age where you could just put things out on social media or whatever, and you find people a different way. But back then, you know, uh, you played shows with other bands that were maybe not exactly like you, and you
Yeah.
sought those tours out, at those times. And I bring all this up again, loving those live shows. You guys always sounded amazing to me at the Glass House. Like it was like whatever reason, like that, it sounded incredible. I brought up the Earth Crisis thing, and I'm glad you brought up being on that tour. And that timing was like the early 2000s. Uh, you almost said it. Like the media started calling it metalcore after that, when everything started to meld together.
I'm not saying that is us or so, but
No, of course, no.
it was pretty early on when it was the mix between like because it felt like it was either or, like you were a
Yes,
hardcore band and you were touring with hardcore bands, so you were metal bands, so you were touring with metal bands. There was like
right. There was no
it's like
crossover.
no, it
They were
was like the
butting
old
heads, and
days with
like to your
synths.
point, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, like the old days of synths and heavy metal. It was like nothing
Mhm.
in between. Boom, and this was all of a sudden like it worked. It worked. I mean, not for everyone, but
Yeah,
it started something. People go like, "Oh, hey, there's something here." So
yeah. No, I mean it did for me too. It sparked like so much because I was listening. The hardcore scene was massive in Orange County. Like that was
Yeah,
it
yeah,
really
yeah, yeah. I
was.
remember. Yeah,
Yeah, and other places like Salt Lake City. And it was fun, you know. I remember like this was in high school for me too. So like I was very much in that, you know, when we were on our teen years and we like pick our genre and that's like how you identify, right? So I
yeah,
was
yeah,
very
yeah.
much into that. And I was always the metal guy and I was like, ah, fuck hardcore, you know? And then I came around to hardcore. It was like, and then everything came together. But I just want to like paint the picture for some of the listeners and what viewers at home who maybe don't know the history of how that came to be. Like you're talking about, you'd go to these shows where bands like yourself would go out with an Earth Crisis, and the crowds were fighting each other a lot of the times,
Oh yeah,
or
yeah, yeah.
screaming at the fucking different bands. It was, you know, it was a real scene, man. It was like and it was going all over the. I mean, at least in the U.S. I don't know how it was
Mm.
in Europe, but at least
We're
in the U.S.,
still,
like it was all over.
yeah. I mean, I think I mean, it was very metal in Europe.
Yeah,
Yeah, like more so than I think it was in the States. But
yeah. I think the states were more hardcore, and Europe was a little bit more
yeah,
metal, and that's why I
yeah,
gravitated towards more like you guys,
yeah,
the Soil Works of the world, Children of Bodom, At the Gates.
yeah.
You know, that was more my shit. And but
I think that's
yeah,
why a lot of when our type of music or our type of bands got attention, it seemed like there was tons of these bands, you know. But we've been doing
hmm,
it for years
right,
before media turned and called it whatever they call it,
right,
stuff like that, you know. So, but yeah, I'm fine. Call me whatever. Like
yeah.
it's
Oh no,
it's all good. Yeah, it's all good. But I think the most what are we talking about here? The most important thing for us is just like I said, not saying no to anything and just fucking go out there and do it, and you learn something from it. If you can't do that, yeah, I think you lost already.
yeah, and I think even for the listener out there can wrap their heads around it too, because it's like you guys went out there to learn something for yourselves, but you're also in a way kind of teaching the fans and the next generation musicians like myself that were coming up and watching and going to these shows and seeing the, you know, the battle between metal and hardcore, like,
Mhm.
and it's so funny to say now because no one gives a fuck anymore. Like like at that
Yeah,
moment, at those like it was only a few years, but those few
yeah,
years, like everyone, it was like it was a debate at if you were into hard rock at all, it was always a debate. You know what I mean? Like there was like there's and it was an angry, heated fucking debate. There's a lot of people who go to the shows just to fuck up
oh
the
yeah,
people of the fans of another band. And you're like,
yeah.
and it's so funny, like in this day and age, it's very fortunate that it's not there anymore. But I gotta say, as influential as your band has been musically to everybody, I want to also point out that you guys going out and playing with these other bands, and I think you taught a lot of listeners a lot of things too, and brought a lot of harmony to a scene in a, you know, I'm not trying to prop you up as the messiahs of fucking music or anything like that to give you too big of a head there,
I
but
will
it's
tell all my friends what you said right now and see. That's how I'm gonna live my
yeah, you are.
life
Yeah,
from here on.
Andrew's the Messiah of metal. But no,
No,
but honestly, like there's an element to that, like that I'm saying.
yeah,
There's a lot of truth to that. Like bands like yourself getting out there and melding, because the artists that bands we never cared about that stuff, right?
yeah.
It's the fans that kind of created those opposing scenes, right?
I appreciate you saying those fine words, sir. But at the end of the day, you know, when all of this is over,
Yeah.
I'm. It's not an individual song or an album. It's that we actually created something from a small place in this world. Because Gothenburg, or where we were, a little bit outside of Gothenburg, we were like 30 dudes that were doing this, but everybody was jumping in and out of bands, and it was very a healthy little scene that
Hmm.
we created something that a music that traveled the world. It's what I'm gonna take away. Not being the prophet, not being Anders. Like it's just like that is what I leave behind, which just feels really good. You know that
And
is possible to do this, and I say it sometimes from stage too, like just fucking believe you. It's maybe a cliche, but whatever. It's like, you know, don't let anyone put you down. Believe your dream. Just do it. Because there have been so many times where I go to not counseling. What do you say? I don't know the words for it. When you're young and you need to have a job and they supply you a job and say, like, do this,
Oh,
and
guidance counselor.
yeah. And then they ask you what you want to do, and I like I'm music. I want to play in a band. Don't do music. It's nobody
Yeah,
cares.
no one,
Be
no
like,
one, no one makes it.
yeah, exactly. I'd be like, fuck you. And I was, you know, persistent and still like, this is what I want to do, and I'm really happy I made it that way. And then just if you have those dreams, fucking do it.
Absolutely, man. Don't let anyone tell you can't do anything. You guys stick to your
No,
guns, man. And I don't know about for you, but it was always music for me, man. It was same way. People tell you you're never gonna make music, and I was like, it doesn't matter. Either I'm doing this or I'm not gonna make it. There's
yeah,
no
yeah, yeah, yeah,
further.
yeah,
And
yeah, yeah,
there's
yeah.
varying degrees of, and as you learn through being on the business side and meeting so many musicians and stuff, you don't necessarily have to be in the band to be in music. You know what I mean? Like there's a lot of
Well,
stuff
there's
around
a
it.
lot of things you can do. Yeah, for sure,
Yeah. So everyone
for
stick to
sure.
your
I
guns if you
mean,
love music that way.
yeah. No, um, famous last words or whatever you say.
Dude, well, again, I want to thank you so much for the time. I got to plug the tour coming up and everything. Next couple of tours coming up. How long do you guys foresee the cycle for Foregone going? Are we going into 2025 or are you guys going to be wrapping it
Yes,
up?
yeah, no, we will be going into 25. Let's see how far we stretch this, but um 2 3 years at least. That's what I, you know.
That's a great cycle these days, this day and age, man. If you could stretch it out. Well, you got to
I
make you got
know
to make you got to
again.
make up you got to make up time for that for the pandemic that stifled you. You got to get back to Auckland.
Yeah, but here's another thing what we talked about before. You talk about like this is not the way you're supposed to release singles. You're supposed to be there all the time. You shouldn't wait. You shouldn't wait 3 years. That's old school way of thinking. But I'd be like, yeah, maybe it is, but I'm fine with that. You know, that's I don't like, yeah, I get it at different times, but I get it. But I this is the way I want to do it. That's the way
Yeah.
I'm gonna do it. So yeah,
And you got to be happy. I've heard you say before too, and I think that's
yeah.
very important that like the moment you step out on stage and you're not having a good time,
Oh, it's
then
time to go.
it's time to go.
Yeah.
And
It can happen it can happen once or twice, but like if it happens for several shows in a
several
row, you're like,
shows, yeah.
yeah, you're
What are you
wrong
doing out
place.
there? And
Yeah.
you know the fans might think the people listening will be like, well, how do you walk away from that? Blah 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 blah. It's like, but if you really put yourself in this position, think about it this way: if I'm not having a good time on stage, if I'm not present with you there,
Yeah.
it's gonna show in the performance.
Yeah. And you're lying to your fans too. They'll
Yeah,
come there and support you and you'll be like, I don't want to be here. And then it's like just leave. It's
yeah,
like so yeah, but so far I love it more than ever. So it's a good
it's
place to
good.
be.
It's good to have that break sometimes. You know that absence makes the
100
heart grow
100%.
fonder. Yeah,
100%. 100%. I
I
know
think
it
there's
was
a
a
lot of
tough
good
time
things that
for a
came
lot
out
of
of it.
people.
Hmm.
Yeah, but I know it was a tough time for a lot of people losing jobs and family members and stuff like that. But if you look at our band specifically, or I think it was a nice breather. I got to look at myself and our band and see, you know, things for real and yeah, evaluate the position. And then now it feels way better.
Yeah, man. So it's so good to be out on stage and just having fun again. That's what
Right,
it's all
right.
about,
Yeah.
right? Man,
Yeah.
well, I can't wait to catch you guys. As I said, I'm going to be looking at tour dates. Everyone at home, go look at these tour dates. I was talking specifically. You got May in the States, you got Europe in the winter time, and then I'll keep an eye out because obviously Anders just said they're going to be out in 2025 as well.
Yeah.
Last thing, are you going to be around this summer for some of those
Uh,
European festivals coming up?
no, we're not. We decided to take a
Take the summer
break,
off.
not take the summer off. I mean, obviously, talk about the COVID years that was off, but it wasn't meant to be. So it never felt
Right.
really right, like I was free. So we decided not to do any tours this summer. So
Okay. Are you going to be home?
that's gonna be it. Yeah, I'm gonna be home.
All right. Well,
Where,
we gotta.
are you in Scandinavia at all, or
I
do you
gotta
know?
look again. I gotta look again.
Yeah,
I know we're doing so. You know the circuit. You know
I
the
know, I know, I
European
know, I know.
circuit.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I'm just not sure if we're doing the Scandinavian ones this summer or next summer. To be honest, I gotta look at the schedule again. You know how that is.
Yeah.
But yeah, someone right now is fact checking me already in the YouTube comments and being like, Johnny, you're gonna be here. I'm like, okay,
Yeah,
cool.
yeah,
I'll be there.
yeah,
But
yeah.
no, I just asked. We got to exchange each other. I don't know why we never exchange each other's numbers or info on
Yeah,
all the fucking
yeah.
shows we did.
So my
But
number is
yeah, yeah, yeah.
like,
I will do it after I hit stop. Yeah. But yeah, thank you so much, man. We got to
no,
stay in touch though,
yeah,
because if I am next time I'm in Europe or next time you're
sure, man.
near California, or we just, I'm sure we're gonna
Sounds
cross
good.
paths
Yeah,
again. I'd love to
and say
kick it
hi
with
to
you
the
in person,
boy.
man.
Say hi to the boys and everyone, and have a good tour.
Likewise, man.
And
Thank you so
yeah,
much, man.
thank you for having me.
I appreciate it. And
Now I'm
everyone,
gonna
go
cook
check
food
out
for the
more.
family.
What's that, buddy?
Now I'm gonna cook food for the family. Everybody's waiting.
Everyone's
So-
waiting on you. I'm sorry. I took too much of the time, but thank you guys
No,
so
no,
much.
it's all good. It's all good.
Everyone, yeah, thanks for checking it out. As always, till next time. Cheers.
Thank you.